Hi, my name is Susanna Ogata, and it's a pleasure to get to introduce you today to a little bit of a performance I did last year with the Newton Baroque Ensemble. And in this performance, I'm collaborating with truly fine musicians. On the harpsichord, or the early keyboard, is Andrus Madsen. And the big plucked instrument, the theorbo, is Simon Martin Ellis. On the cello is Sarah Freiberg Allison, and I'm playing on a Baroque violin. And by Baroque violin, I mean that my instrument has actually been retrofitted to represent how a violin was set up during the Baroque period. And so I'm playing on all gut strings as opposed to steel strings that many violinists use today. And the fittings themselves on the instrument are quite a bit different. So by that I mean the bridge and the bass bar, the tailpiece on the violin, and the neck are all balanced, generally so that there's less tension on the strings of the Baroque violin as opposed to on a modern violin. Also, you'll notice that the bow is a bit different. A Baroque bow has a heavy base to it, a light tip, and a curve that goes outward in the middle of the stick, as opposed to on a modern bow where either end are more equally weighted and there's a curve going inward in the middle. So you could say that on a modern bow it's probably easier to sustain the sound, and the bows articulate naturally very differently by the nature of their different shapes. And all this together, when you put all these features together, the Baroque violin just has a different sound color palette than a modern violin. Also, just a little bit about the piece that's really fun. It was composed by Johann Jakob Walter, who lived in the mid to late 1600s into the early 1700s. And he was a virtuoso violinist and was exploring all sorts of things on the violin that not a lot of composers were doing yet. So he writes up really high for the violinist. Also, he has many passages where there's multiple notes being played at once, double stops, triple stops, even quadruple stops. And this particular piece is called Galli e Gallina, or Roosters and Chickens. And so, boy, does he really explore the sounds of these animals. So you'll get your rooster cock-a-doodle-doos and the bok-bok-boks of the chickens, along with a sunrise and other farm sounds. So this was a super fun piece to put together, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And I really hope you'll enjoy it today. Thanks.